Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. This is the Lord of the Rings. This is the adventure book game by Ravensburger. It's a cooperative game for ages 10 plus for 1 to 4 players. I've just completed playing through all 8 chapters as A3. We happen to win, and this is a game whereby you're looking to complete various quests, playing out cards, discussing things, and ultimately trying to make sure the ring stays in safe hands. As you can see, we have various different chapters we can play through. In this one, we start off in chapter 1 in the Shire. The adventure begins. So after receiving a mysterious ring, Frodo leaves the Shire with his friends and heads towards Bree and the unknown. So the various cards that we're going to be playing through with, so those various chapters I mentioned, you can have plot cards such as plot card 1, and these die symbols basically represent rolling a die and something happening. So I'll show you how that works in a second, but you might reveal a certain value, and that value is going to indicate something at the end of your turn, which I'll come back on to talking to you about in a second. If you are watching this as a short, make sure it's the full video over on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. This is a game that you can be losing at any time due to corruption, which I'll talk to you about as well. That's to do with these rings. If you have any questions, as always, please do let me know in the comments are best on YouTube, and also head through to check out the description as well. Everybody is going to take one of these player aid cards, and initially you are going to do the following. You'll be moving on your turn, and then be doing a number of things such as discarding cards, completing challenges over here. Typically they might need to be done in order, playing any special cards, you'll see that in a second. And you can trade a single card with any other player, hence it being a cooperative game. Lastly, you're going to draw 2 cards and then reveal that plot deck I showed you about in a second, and discard once you've got at least, well, more than 6 cards. So in this particular scenario, we're talking about a setup. So we're finding the chapter on plot card, which I showed you. We have various characters in play. So we happen to have Aragon on the indicated space. So you're going to find them on here and place them out. But aside from that, some people will not be coming out at the time being. So in this case, Aragon starts off to the side. But over here we have Pippin. Pippin has an apple. That's representing Pippin. But we also have Gimli, which as you can see, we're not using right now. We happen to have, obviously, Merry over there. We have got Legolas, which we're not playing with at the moment. We happen to also have, obviously, Frodo, and we've got good trusty Samwise. Aside from that corruption track, as and where we will need it, which you'd be surprised how perilous it will be, can come into play as well. So this is how to set up playing review. As you can see, this is just the setup so far. So various other things will be needed. You might need to place out Gandalf counters as and when he appears, and then of course dealing with that in due course. So check out my cooperative playlist, and obviously my AmassGames playlist, how to set up play and review playlist, amongst many others. Very useful, of course, to checking out other things you might find of interest. So there we are, we have got Gandalf the Grey on the road to the Shire. So in terms of what we're doing, we also have various things in this particular chapter. It's unique to this particular chapter. We'll be placing out various things. In this case, we're playing out these Black Riders as well. And as you can see, they look like this, and they're going to be starting to be placed out. So in this case, you're going to place it on each of these spots. So we have a Black Rider in this location, and we're going to have a Black Rider in this location. And the first thing we need to be doing is Frodo and Gandalf must be on the hearth. So as you can see, there's various locations, in this case the hearth, and each player is going to draw 1 card from the story deck and remove Gandalf from the board once and when that has occurred. But before we do that, we do need to finally finish setup by telling everybody how many cards they're starting off at, so you need to make sure you're aware of that. So here's that plot deck card. We're going to be revealing and shuffling those in a moment, but we're going to start up with actually saying some other cards to deal with. So we have some corruption deck cards, such as these, which can occur when we reach certain places on the track as well, which as and when that can occur, that can be a negative effect. I won't be showing you anything there, I'll let you discover that, but I will tell you that it is pretty bad stuff. And then you've got various cards that you can draw. So various cards that could be in your starting hand, and as you can see, we have various different things. They refer to as like might and stuff like this, but there are also some special cards that can come into the game, and I won't tell you as and when they may occur or in terms of any kind of times when they stop occurring, but it is very interesting as to when they do occur. So we've now shuffled everything up. We've given everybody a player aid card. We've shuffled up those 5 Eye of Sauron cards. We've got this corruption deck all sorted out as well. And now we need to hand out the number of starting cards, which may depend on each player as well. Each particular mission might be different. In this one, we're starting off with 4 cards each. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I now have some starting cards. And the reason why that is important is because it might depend on what we're trying to do. So in this case, we're trying to do this. We're trying to get Frodo and Gandalf over to here. And in this case, we need to have Samwise on the road to the Shire. Once you can do that, we need to be playing our eye symbol, and then everybody can draw a card from the story deck, and you can remove Gandalf from the board. So say I'm starting, I could be doing this. 1, because the very first thing you can do is move a single character 0 to 2 spaces or 2 character 1 space. I can do this. And now into the storytelling phase. I can discard a number of cards to move an extra character. Let's say I discard that card, and now they're in the hearth. We need to make sure that we have Samwise on the road, as it says, to the Shire. So we need to make sure that is on the road to the Shire. So we might want to discard 2 more cards, which in this case we can do, 1, 2. But as it says, when played or discarded, move the corruption marker up 1 space on that corruption track. So we move that 1 space. As you can see, that's bad. We will lose the game entirely, all 8 chapters, if it reaches 15. And now we do actually happen to have this eye symbol, or this symbol here, so in which case we can complete it, which means every player draws 1 card from the story deck. So we get story, as you can see, I've got an empty hand now, I've drawn an extra card. And that's it, we've completed our first chapter, first bit. So each of these things have a thing next to it showing you've completed it, and now we can move on to the next one. It does say you don't have to complete them in order, some chapters do, and as you can see we now need to do the next thing. So in this case, we've got this, Gandalf comes off the board, we're now trying to get all 4 hobbits in the space of Bree. So all these 4 characters, as you can see, it'll take a lot longer now to get them down to here. Be wary of these things, because you'll lose this game if there's more than 1 hobbit in the hiding spot, or the plot deck runs out. So the last thing we're doing on my turn, I've spent everything, I've taken all my actions, there was no special cards so far in this particular mission. I then drop 2 cards, I then discard if I've got more than 6, and lastly we are going to be, I think, at that plot stage. So draw 2, draw a plot card, so here are those plot cards, reveal, like I said, it says it's a 15, move both Black Riders 2 spaces, so they're trying to catch things. These guys are moving 2 spaces, so this guy is going to go here, and this guy goes here, and it's going to move clockwise. So in this case, it's in the same location. That is typically not a good thing, because if it lands on a space of the hobbit, move that hobbit to hiding spots. As you can see, a great first turn, a bit of a bad turn, because suddenly we do not want an extra person. So this guy's at risk, we need to move Merry out the way. So what do I think of the game? I think it's a great or amazing game, a very high 8 out of 10, maybe an 8.9 out of 10. Fascinating story, very close. We have lost some chapters, had to replay them. Great discussion points as well, very interesting. It's yeah, highly enjoyable, highly recommend checking this out. Again, average rating being a 6.4 out of 10. Thanks very much for watching. Speak again soon. Like I said, very, very fun. Other chapters, very thematic, great quotes, really immersive, very thematic, relating to exactly what you're doing and how you'll do very similar things in the Lord of the Rings. I will quickly, spoiler free, kind of show you some other bits though, just to show you what else I've liked, because at this point you're probably still watching if you're interested. So we have, obviously, as you can see, the Fellowship Forged. We are trying to move things to various locations. We've got the Mines of Moria, and again, you've got the Balrog. We've also got the Fellowship Splits, and he's trying to do various different things, trying to get Boromir to do various things. We've then got the Last March of the Ents, so we've got various Enty things to do. We have got Battle of Helm's Deep, various spaces we've got to try and be at certain times, making sure Gandalf can get to certain locations too. We've got to deal with Shelob as well. And lastly, we have got to make sure that, amongst other things, we've got to save Faramir. We've got to raise an army by finding the army of the dead. We've got to deal with Oliphant counters, make sure that Arwen can defeat the Witch King alongside, or actually opposite, Merry as well. And then lastly, we've got the Battle of the Black Gate. And once that all's been done, we can now get into these spaces to destroy the Ring of Power, once Gollum, Samwise and Frodo have all reached in that final space. Epic game, epic storytelling, epic gameplay. Thanks very much for watching. Back to the table.